Do you want to do a visualization but are absolutely scared of it? If so, hop on this data viz train and do a project with me. Hi, welcome to Chartbites. My name is Salome and I'm here to make data visualization less daunting. So today I will walk you through the process of designing a visualization. This is the first part of a 3-video series that will cover the entire process from beginning to end as I do a project with you. Feel free to do it with me as well and share your progress along the way. In these videos, I will work on a somewhat simple project so you can follow along no matter your level of expertise. As you may or may not know, the visualization design process usually has 3 main stages: preparation, structuring, and execution. Each of these stages has its specific set of tasks, and of course, they can change and fluctuate according to the project you're working on. Today is all about the preparation, having an idea and turning it into something more solid, thinking about what data needs to be collected, and then collecting said data. When preparing a visualization project, there are a lot of considerations to have before you even start. These considerations sometimes depend on the type of project and who you are doing the project for. As I'm doing this for myself and you all, we have a lot of freedom, so let's get this ball rolling. Having an idea is not always easy. Because of that, I recommend starting a project with a problem or question. I don't know if this triggers a Wonder Woman vibe in my brain or if it's just my problem-centered self, but I love a good problem-solving mission. And this is where a good mind map can be of great help. For this, you only need 3 things: paper, time, and focus. These last 2 can be easily disrupted and cheated, so try to fully commit to your mind map. Of course, mind mapping is just one tool you can use. If you don't particularly enjoy mind maps, you can try another creativity methods like problem trees, lotus blossoms, worst possible idea, or any other that suits your workflow. So, let's mind map. Instead of paper, I'll use my iPad so you can see what I'm doing. But I encourage you to use actual paper and pens or pencils because it boosts creativity and you won't have notifications to distract you. The magic of the mind map is that it gives you room to explore every possible ramification and link between your main points. The more you force this, the more your brain exercises. Besides, you can have a link that pops up an unexpected bright idea, which is always welcomed. So first, I like to spread my main points across the page. I'm listing problems or challenges that I can solve or that are valuable to me. And then I'll add new subpoints or additional questions until I feel like I've wholly spent my ideas on all matters. This can take a while or be a bit frustrating, but lean into it. No one said it was easy. So I was able to get 6 themes out of my head today. Not too bad, but not that good either. Because I got very excited about one of them and I could not think about any other. Sometimes that happens too. And that is to see how sustainable my wardrobe is nowadays. Around 2019, I think. I don't know what's time anymore. I started to worry about how I bought my clothes and how simple actions like buying 10-euro dresses a year could do more harm than good. Fashion is one of the most harmful and polluting industries, not to mention the terrible work conditions that most workers face. And I started to feel guilty that I participated in this vicious cycle. So, I committed to buy less, repair more, learn to sew, and be more conscious about my clothing habits. And now I want to visualize how that changed my wardrobe and where I can still improve. So, this can either go really well or really poorly. Fingers crossed I don't make a total fool of myself and find that my changes resulted in nothing. After I identify the problem, it's time to figure out what I need to know. Or, in other words, what data I need and where I can find it. Since this is a primary source kind of project, I will be collecting the data myself. If I feel like I need complementary data or any additional content later, we'll search for it in a reliable source. Always look for your data in reliable sources and always cite them. So, if I'm trying to understand how sustainable my wardrobe got in the last 2 years, I need to label every piece of clothing I own. Then I will have a series of categories to display my information according to different variables and have more room to be creative when I get to the design stage. I will describe my clothes by type of garment, pants, skirts, dresses, jumpers, t-shirts, shirts or blouses, jackets and coats. Color. This is only important to this matter because I've completely changed my color palette in the last few years, so it can impact what clothes I use the most. Means of acquisition, bought, given, hand-me-down or made, and if I alter the piece, if the item is new from the last decade or vintage, and when it came into my life, and then how much I love it and how much I wear it. And these are entirely different questions. And now I'll use these categories to prep my Excel file. I opted to have limited options in the cells, so there is not much room to make any mistakes. I definitely don't want to spend hours proofreading and correcting my spreadsheet. All I have to do now is insert every item of clothing I own in this beautiful, ready-to-go spreadsheet. I'm starting to regret my choices. But now, to the spreadsheet and to my home, because I cannot do this on this set. I'm ready to do this. What an awesome outfit change! So, I have 135 items of clothing, 6 coats, 10 jackets, 27 jumpers, 24 shirts, 30 t-shirts, 19 dresses, 13 pairs of pants, and 7 skirts. This is insane. I honestly didn't think it would be this many. I definitely don't need any more clothes. I just have to remember that. I have an idea. Maybe I should do this as a poster so I could hang it beside my wardrobe to remind me that I have 135 pieces of clothing. When I had this idea, I wanted to know if there was any data about this topic. And I came across Maria Lee, or Gold Zipper. She collects wardrobe data across multiple countries, and she concluded that people own an average of 148 items of clothing, including shoes. My 135 pieces exclude shoes, but if I would add them, I would come to 152. I will link Maria and her project in the description so you can know more, enter her survey, and give her a follow. Now I have all my data. If you downloaded your data through an external and reliable source, this would be the time to look for inconsistencies, empty data points, spelling mistakes, and any other detail that might be off, so your data is cleaned and ready to visualize. This would be also the time to decide if you want to use all the data or just part of it. As I did this myself, and I had limited options in the cells, I think there are no mistakes, but I'll take a second look just to be sure. This is somewhat a small amount of data to process, so I can do this by hand. I can also use filters in Excel to highlight specific categories to look for patterns. I always like to sit with the data before starting to outline a story or even sketching. Many questions lay behind the data, which can go unnoticed if you jump this step and go to design right away, which many of us love to do. By looking at my data, I can see that I love most of my clothes, which I already knew. I can also see that I have a lot of hand-me-downs. I suspected this because my sister and I exchange a lot of clothes, but at first glance this looks like a third, which is more than I thought. I can also see that I almost don't buy coats and pants. Most of the ones I own were gifted or hand-me-downs. I'm happy about this. I'm also excited that I only bought 6 items of clothing this year. Finally, as expected, I don't alter or make as much of my clothes as I want. But this is a start, and I'm still learning. We come to the end of the preparation stage, which usually closes with data analysis or processing, depending on the type of project and data. In the following video, we will be exploring the structuring phase, which includes the information architecture, outlining a narrative, and sketching. People often like to jump this stage and go straight to execution, but I promise you, it makes a difference. This time, I don't have references, but a list of resources that can be helpful in this stage of the visualization design process. Don't forget to share the evolution of your project if you choose to do this with me. There is a questionnaire in the description if you feel like giving feedback, which I always appreciate. I will be back with more DataViz content. This is Chartbites. See you next time. And this is the one. You can have a link that pops up see that out? Or